My name's Emily, and one night my sister slapped me in front of 300 guests at my own wedding. She did it because I wouldn't watch her kid for the evening. The worst part? Nobody seemed to care but me. Have you ever had your family turn on you like that? Share your story in the comments. It had never been expected to happen like this. The slap came out of nowhere, sharp, loud, right in front of everyone at my own wedding. Linda stood there as if nothing had happened, staring with that cold, almost amused expression. For a second, the mind refused to process it. She had asked me to watch her kid. The answer had been no, not out of spite, just exhaustion, a need for a few quiet minutes in the middle of chaos. But Linda couldn't accept it. She slapped me, hard. And there I was, frozen, cheek burning, a room full of guests watching in stunned silence. "What's wrong with you?" she hissed, as if I were the one causing a scene. Every pair of eyes was on us, but not judging her. No questions. No intervention. Just watching. I turned and walked away before words could spill out. Space was needed immediately. Whispers followed. Family members already rewriting the story, already excusing her. It's her wedding day. You shouldn't stress her out. There was no way to explain. Hands shook while grabbing my purse, the weight of the moment finally sinking in. How could she do this? Before stepping outside, the phone buzzed. "Mom, where are you? Everyone's asking for you." No reply came. She wouldn't understand. She never did. Breathing felt shallow, pressure pressing in from all sides. Linda was still inside somewhere, laughing, mingling, untouched by consequences. The image replayed over and over, the slap, the sting, the humiliation. The phone rang again. Rachel's name lit up the screen. "I'm so sorry about Linda," she said immediately, "but don't let her ruin this for you. You know how she is." "I don't understand," the words came out shaky. "Why would she do that in front of everyone?" "She's been pushing you around for years," Rachel said gently. "Maybe it's time to set boundaries." A hard swallow. "It feels like nothing I do is ever enough." "You're not alone, and you don't have to tolerate this. Give her space. Let things cool down." "But she's family." "Family or not, respect matters. And don't let her turn this into something bigger. You know she'll try." A nod she couldn't see. "I need to figure out what comes next." "Just don't let her pull you into her drama." The call ended, but the heaviness stayed. Quiet night air offered no relief when stepping outside. Then another buzz. Mark, my husband, or soon-to-be. "Emily, we need to talk." The message made my heart race. Was this him taking her side? No response yet. Thoughts felt tangled, unreadable. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. What happened in there? His voice was low, cautious. "She slapped me," I said. "I just said no." "I'm not on her side," he said quickly. "Can we talk when I get home? We'll figure it out." Silence followed. It wasn't just about the slap. It was years of entitlement, of being expected to absorb everything quietly. None of that came out. Only a soft, "Okay." "Please," he added, gentler now. "You don't have to do this alone." I hadn't made it far before the phone started buzzing. First a text from Mom, then another from a cousin. Each message asked the same thing in different words. "Where are you? What happened?" They came fast, one after another, a reminder that this wasn't just my problem anymore. It was becoming everyone's. Barely reaching the parking lot, the first call came in. The number wasn't familiar, but it was answered anyway. Rachel's voice came through, calm as always, a soft echo in the cold night air. "Hey, are you okay?" "I don't know what just happened," slipped out quietly, a hand running through my hair. "Linda slapped me, in front of everyone," and there was a long pause before she spoke again. "Oh, God. What? Why?" "I told her no. I wasn't going to babysit her kid tonight. I wanted time to myself." Her sigh wasn't annoyed, just tired. "You know how she is. She doesn't handle no well. But slapping you? That's a whole new level. Leaning back against the car, cold metal seeping through my clothes, the words came heavier. I don't know what to do, Rach. It feels like I crossed some invisible line. You're not alone, she said firmly. And don't let her make you feel crazy. Slapping you in front of everyone isn't just family drama. That's a boundary violation. A big one. Breathing felt shallow under the weight of it. So what now? Pretend it didn't happen? You don't have to let it go, but don't escalate either. Let things cool down before making big decisions. Just don't ignore it. Take control back. What that looked like wasn't clear yet, but she was right. Letting it slide wasn't an option. The call ended, and I headed back toward the venue, hoping to grab my things and disappear quietly. That hope didn't last long. As soon as I stepped inside, Mark, my husband, stood by the door, arms crossed, eyes tired but sharp. "We need to talk," he said, voice low but cutting through the noise. Of course he did. The absurdity almost made me laugh. Slapped in front of 100 people, and now a calm conversation was expected. What is it? The effort to keep my voice steady was obvious. "Let's go outside," he said, nodding toward the exit. I followed, steps heavy, thoughts spiraling. He opened the door, cool air rushing in. Standing there, it became painfully clear how distant we'd grown these past months. The wedding, the house, everything had been a carefully built illusion. The slap shattered it. "What the hell happened in there?" Mark asked, sharper than expected. "Linda happened," snapped back, before restraint kicked in. "She slapped me for saying no. She wanted me to watch her kid. I refused. She lost it. End of story." His eyes narrowed. "You think that's the end of it?" "What do you want from me?" Hands flew up in frustration. "I'm not apologizing for setting a boundary. She doesn't get to walk all over me anymore." "You're right, but you're missing something. The family's already talking. They think you're making it worse." I stopped cold. "What?" "Word's spreading. Some say you were disrespectful. Some are calling you selfish." The air felt thin. "They're blaming me?" The words barely came out. "For saying no? For wanting to enjoy my own wedding? This is insane." "You know how they are. They don't see it the way you do." A bitter laugh escaped, metallic on the tongue. "Then let them think whatever they want. I'm done pretending." Mark hesitated, choosing his words. "It's not that simple. It's family. We can't just..." "Can't just what?" cut in sharply. "Keep letting them walk all over me? I've done that for years, and look where it got me. Slapped in front of everyone." The phone buzzed again. A message from my brother Paul. "Where are you? Mom's asking for you. We need to talk." No reply followed. The finger hovered over the screen before the realization hit. It was always about talking, never about fixing anything. "I have to go," I said quietly. "There's nothing more to say." He didn't stop me. Walking back into the parking lot, the phone buzzed again. Another call, this time from an unknown number. Hesitation, then an answer. "Hello?" "Is this Emily Carter?" a man asked. "Yes," came the confused reply. "This is John Matthews. I'm calling regarding a legal matter. We need to discuss some family business." The air thickened instantly, a chill running down my spine. "Legal matter?" "Yes, it involves assets and some financial discrepancies connected to your family. We need to arrange a meeting as soon as possible." The day after the wedding, the weight of everything finally began to settle in. The slap replayed on a loop, the sting still vivid. But what hurt more was how easily it had been dismissed. Linda acted like I deserved it, and everyone else simply let it pass, as if my feelings didn't count. Facing them felt impossible. Not yet. The messages kept coming anyway. Mom, aunts, cousins, everyone had an opinion, and none of it focused on what Linda had done. I was too sensitive, overreacting, dramatic. No one asked if I was okay. I ignored everything until my brother Daniel called. His voice was calm, but there was tension underneath it. "Emily, we need to talk," he said, "about yesterday." "What is there to talk about?" The words came out sharper than intended. Linda slapped me in front of everyone. That's what happened. I know, but no, don't, Daniel. Don't justify it. Silence followed, heavy and deliberate. I'm not justifying anything, he said carefully. I just think there's more going on than you realize. That stopped me cold. Leaning back against the counter, my stomach tightened. What are you talking about? I don't know all of it, he admitted, but things with Mom and the money, they've been complicated. My heart skipped. What money? Everything, he said quietly. I don't think you know the whole story. The words echoed, unsettling. What do you mean, the whole story? I think this isn't just about Linda's tantrum, he said. I think you've been paying for more than you realize. Before I could respond, another buzz interrupted. Mom, we need to talk, her message read. Please come by. It's about the wedding. My chest tightened. Too many unanswered questions collided at once. Something was missing, something bigger. Instead of responding, I called Rachel. She answered immediately, and the words spilled out before she could speak. What is going on with my family? I blurted. I just found out I've been paying for things, wedding expenses, other stuff I didn't even know about. Why didn't anyone tell me? Rachel went quiet for a moment. Emily, it sounds like they've been taking advantage of you. This isn't just about Linda. They've been leaning on you without being honest. I never agreed to this, I whispered, hands trembling. I know, but you need answers. If they've been hiding this, you need to see the full picture. I don't even know where to start. Start with your mom, she said gently. She's at the center of it. Then you can deal with the rest. After hanging up, the dread lingered. Avoiding my mom wasn't an option anymore. The call was made after a moment of hesitation. Mom, I said as soon as she answered, what's going on with the money? Why didn't you tell me? A long pause followed. I didn't know how, she said quietly. You've always helped. You were always there. That's not the point, I snapped. This is my life. You didn't think I deserved to know? I didn't want to burden you, she said softly. Things have been hard. Taking a slow breath, I pressed on. What's going on with the house, with the wedding? Why was my money used without telling me? Silence stretched before the truth came out. We were struggling, she admitted. We couldn't manage without you. My stomach dropped. You sold part of the house? Yes, she said. We didn't have a choice. Sitting down, the weight of it crushed me. No one thought to ask me, not once? I was afraid you'd hate me, she whispered. Rubbing my temples, exhaustion washed over me. You should have told me. I know, she said, but now it's too late. Yeah, I muttered. It is. The call ended, my hand shaking around the phone. Shock, anger, disbelief, all of it tangled together. Control over my own life felt gone. Letting this continue wasn't an option. Answers were needed, and waiting for honesty clearly wasn't working. A lawyer was the next step. Scrolling through options online, fingers unsteady, the realization became clear. Silence had only made things worse. An appointment was set for the next morning. And the call ended, the reality of it hit hard. I was about to confront my family, confront the truth, and finally understand what had been happening behind my back all along. I wasn't expecting anything like this. The phone rang early that morning, before I'd fully shaken off sleep, and I answered on instinct. The voice on the other end was unfamiliar, and that alone sent a jolt through me. Ms. Carter, he asked. This is Tim from the real estate office. We need to confirm a few details regarding the sale of your family property. My stomach dropped. What sale? The words came out sharper than I meant. The property on Maple Street. Your mother authorized the sale to cover outstanding debts. The paperwork's already been processed, and we're preparing to close. I airleft my lungs all at once. No one told me anything about this. I'm sorry, Ms. Carter, but your mother signed the documents several weeks ago. We just need to finalize a few remaining details. It felt like a punch to the chest. Fingers tightened around the edge of the counter as the room tilted slightly. I need to speak to my mother, I said, voice unsteady. Of course, he replied, professionally detached, but you'll need to act quickly. Any changes would have to be made today. The call ended before another question could form. I stood there staring at the phone, pressure building fast. This wasn't a misunderstanding. My mother had gone behind my back and sold part of the family property without saying a word. The phone buzzed again. Mom. I know you're upset, her message read, but you don't understand how desperate things have become. I had no choice. The bills are piling up. We've been holding on for too long. Well, holding on to what? The illusion that everything was fine? A slow breath in, forcing myself not to react too quickly. Fingers hovered before typing back. Why didn't you tell me? I had no idea this was happening. The reply came almost immediately. I didn't want to worry you. I thought we could handle it without involving you. I never thought it would go this far. The phone was dropped onto the table, hands running through my hair. I couldn't decide what hurt more, that she'd sold it without telling me, or that she believed I wouldn't find out. Another call came in, this time from Daniel. I already knew the direction it was heading. Em, I know what you're thinking, but don't, I cut in, exhaustion already heavy. How could she sell it without telling me? How could she do that? He paused, searching for words. She was under a lot of pressure. You know how things have been. Under pressure? Sarcasm slipped out. So that makes it okay? She used my money, Daniel. She sold part of our family's history without saying a word. I'm not defending her, he said quickly. She thought it would be easier to handle it herself. Handle it? The word tasted bitter. By hiding it? By making decisions for me? That's not handling anything. That's manipulation. I know. Just don't make it worse. We can sit down and talk this through. Eyes squeezed shut as a headache bloomed. Talking was the last thing I wanted. I'm done talking for now. The call ended before he could respond. My thoughts raced. Trust felt thin. Answers were needed, and I couldn't get them alone. Keys were grabbed, purse slung over my shoulder, feet carrying me straight to the car. A lawyer. That was the next step. I needed to know my rights before anything else happened. An appointment was set for the next day, hands shaking slightly through the call. There was no avoiding this now. Back at the apartment, another message waited from Mom. Please come over. We need to talk in person. I'll explain everything. The screen was stared at for a long moment. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to hear it. But avoiding it wouldn't change the truth. The phone rang again, another unfamiliar number. Ms. Carter, we just need to confirm that everything is in order with the sale. There are a few remaining details before finalizing. My breath caught. This was real. It was happening now. The pressure kept building. Each day felt like a countdown to something I couldn't control, a ticking clock growing louder in the background. I hadn't heard from Linda in days, and part of me wondered if she finally understood how serious everything had become. Then the email from my lawyer arrived, and everything I'd been trying not to think about hit me all at once. Emily, we need to discuss an urgent matter. Linda has begun negotiating outside of court. She's threatening to make the case public, which could have serious consequences for your family's reputation. I leaned back in my chair, rereading the message. It wasn't enough that she'd used my name, hidden the truth, and sold family property behind my back. Now she was willing to drag our entire family through the dirt just to protect herself. The thought was suffocating. This wasn't only about money or property anymore. It was about trust. Trust I'd given to my own family, now shattered beyond repair. A knock at the door broke my spiraling thoughts. Daniel stood in the hallway, his expression guarded. Emily, we need to talk, he said flatly. I rubbed my eyes. I really don't have the energy for this right now. He stepped inside anyway, closing the door. Mom called me. She's terrified. I know you're angry, but she's not doing well. This situation with the property, it's more complicated than you think. I stared at him, disbelief rising. Complicated? She sold the house without even telling me, Daniel. She made a decision that affects my life and didn't think I deserved to know. I get why you're upset, he said, throwing his hands up. But what do you expect? You're pushing this too far. She's our mother. I know it feels like betrayal, but what? I cut in, anger breaking through. That I should just accept it? Pretend everything's fine while she keeps making decisions for all of us behind closed doors? He went quiet for a moment. I'm not saying let it go. I'm saying this won't be fixed overnight. Dragging her to court won't magically make things better. It'll tear the family apart. My chest tightened. Maybe it already is, I said, voice shaking. Maybe pretending everything's fine is what's destroying us. I can't stand by and let her keep doing this. Daniel looked at me, and for the first time, guilt flickered across his face. If this goes public, he said quietly, it'll destroy us. Our name, everything. I can't let that happen. And I can't keep being lied to, I shot back. I'm done staying silent, Daniel. I've spent years fixing things for everyone else. I'm not doing it anymore. Before he could answer, my phone buzzed again. Another message from my lawyer, more urgent than the last. Emily, I need your signature to proceed with court filings. Linda's legal team is pushing for a settlement. If we don't move forward now, we risk losing everything. I showed Daniel the message, my hand trembling. He read it, then looked up at me. Are you really going to do this? He asked softly. I have to, I said. I can't keep letting her control everything. I'm doing this for myself. He didn't argue. He didn't try to stop me. He just stood there, arms crossed, processing what he already knew was inevitable. My decision was made. The phone buzzed again. This time, it was Mom. Emily, please don't do this. I know I made mistakes, but this doesn't have to destroy everything. We're family. Please. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the reply button. The weight in my chest pressed down hard, but I couldn't answer. I couldn't let myself be pulled back in. I turned the phone off and walked past Daniel out of the room. This wasn't how my story ended. I grabbed my coat and stepped outside, not entirely sure where I was going, only that I had to keep moving. I had to take control before everything slipped away completely. The cold air hit my face, and with it came a sudden realization. I was alone in this moment, completely, and for the first time in a long time, that didn't scare me. I wasn't prepared for what I found, not even close. The call came while I was sitting there trying to untangle everything. Linda, the house, the money that had quietly vanished. I'd barely settled in when my lawyer's name lit up the screen. Emily, I've been reviewing the documents, he said, calm but careful. There's something you need to see. My stomach tightened. About what? Your mother, he replied. She's been using your name without your permission. At first, it didn't register. Using my name? How? She's been signing paperwork, taking out loans in your name, multiple ones. They're tied directly to you. She used your credit to secure them so she could cover her debts. I couldn't move. The room felt unsteady, like the floor had shifted beneath me. My mother, the person I trusted without question, had been doing this for months. Longer than that, probably. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was deliberate. Are you certain? The words barely came out. I confirmed it with the bank, he said. And there's more. She's also been selling assets, including the house, without your knowledge. You need to decide how you want to proceed. The shock hit hard. Not only had she sold family property behind my back, she'd been borrowing money in my name the entire time. Everything I thought I was holding together was built on lies. The phone slipped from my hand, then was grabbed again as panic set in. This wasn't just family conflict anymore. This was fraud. Anger, betrayal, confusion all collided. But what hurt most was the helplessness. I had trusted her. Now I didn't even know where the truth stopped. Every new detail only deepened the hole. The lawyer mentioned Linda's attorney was pushing for a quiet settlement, trying to keep everything out of the public eye. But how could I trust any of it now? How could I trust my own mother? Control was slipping fast, and time was running out. Rachel was called without thinking, the words spilling out the second she answered. "My mom's been using my name," I said. "Loans, selling property, all of it behind my back. I don't know what to do." She went quiet. The silence pressed in until she finally spoke. "Emily, this is serious. She crossed a line she can't uncross. What are you going to do?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I'm furious, but I don't even know where to start." "You need legal protection," she said firmly. "This isn't something you can ignore. She took advantage of you. You have to protect yourself." "I'm scared," I said. "What if this destroys the family? What if it never recovers?" "You didn't break it," Rachel said. "She did, and she's left you no choice." The call ended, but the words stayed. I paced the apartment, fighting the urge to shut everything down and walk away. That wasn't possible anymore. A knock at the door cut through the noise in my head. Daniel stood there, arms crossed, exhaustion written all over him. "I need to talk to you," he said, stepping inside. The door closed behind him, tension thick between us. "You can't keep pushing everyone away," he said. "You have to deal with this. It's not just your fight now." "It is my fight," I shot back. "It's my name, my credit, my life. Mom made these decisions without me, and now I'm expected to clean it up." "She's not the only one hurting," he said more quietly. "I know you're angry, but we need to find a way through this together." Together. The word felt hollow. Had anyone been there when I needed them? I'd been the one holding things up, and now I was standing alone. "I don't think we can fix this together," I said flatly. "I'm seeing a lawyer tomorrow. I'm done letting this slide." Daniel didn't argue. His face fell, but he nodded. "If that's what you think is right, just know it's going to get worse before it gets better." I wasn't sure it ever would get better. After he left, the phone buzzed again. Another message from my mom. "I never wanted this, Emily. Please come over. We can talk." There was nothing left to talk about. The truth was already out. The decision had been made. This wasn't about keeping the peace anymore. It was about protecting myself. I took a steady breath and dialed my lawyer again. Tomorrow, everything would change. The first move was finally made, and for the first time, I wasn't reacting anymore. I was leading. I'd spent too long playing defense, letting Linda and the rest of the family set the rules. That ended now. This time, I was stepping forward instead of bracing for impact. That afternoon, I met with my lawyer, David. I came prepared, every document neatly organized, property records, loan statements, asset transfers. As he reviewed everything, I saw it in his expression. Approval, certainty. "We have what we need," he said, looking up from the stack of papers. "Now we move. We file the lawsuit and make it clear you won't be bullied or pressured into silence." "I don't want this dragged out," I told him, fingers tapping against the table despite myself. "But I'm not backing down. I need my life back." David nodded. "We'll file tomorrow. If she tries anything else, the law will be on your side." Leaving his office, I felt lighter, but not free. Linda had never surrendered easily. Still, one truth was undeniable. I wasn't letting her walk over me again. That night, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Emily, please listen. You don't have to do this. We can fix it together." I didn't reply. I wasn't fixing anything anymore. The next morning, Linda's lawyer called. His voice was smooth, practiced. "We're open to discussing a settlement. Your mother and I would like to resolve this quietly before it escalates." "No," I said without hesitation. "I'm not settling. I want everything addressed in court." There was a pause. Then, "I think you'll regret that." "I'll live with it," I replied, ending the call. The conversation left me unsettled, but not shaken. The truth was finally coming into focus, and I was ready to let it surface. Every secret, every lie. Linda would have to face it all. That evening, Daniel texted, "We need to talk. Please come over." I knew what awaited me, another attempt to change my mind. But my decision was already made. When I arrived, he was waiting by the door. "Mom's scared," he said. "She's worried about what this is doing to the family." "Worried?" I scoffed. "She hid everything from me. She made these choices without me." "I'm not saying she's blameless," he said carefully, "but this doesn't have to destroy everything." "I'm not destroying anything," I said. "I'm finally standing up for myself." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "What about us? We're family." "This stopped being just about family a long time ago," I replied. "This is about what's right, and I won't be stepped on anymore." Silence stretched between us. For a moment, I thought he might understand. Instead, he said quietly, "I don't want to see you tear everything apart." "I'm not tearing anything apart," I said, steady and sure. "I'm taking back what's mine." He didn't argue after that. When I left, the weight of how much had changed settled in. What began as confusion had become resolve. I had a plan. I had proof. And I was ready. The following week moved fast. The lawsuit was filed. Linda's lawyer reached out again, more aggressive this time, asking if I was absolutely certain. "Yes," I said, "I am." Linda's reaction was louder than I expected. Control had always been her weapon, and now it was slipping. Attempts to silence things quietly were failing, and she was unraveling. Something else shifted, too. Messages of support began to appear. Even my aunt, once firmly on Linda's side, reached out. "I don't agree with how this happened," she wrote, "but you're doing the right thing." It didn't fix everything, but it mattered. For the first time, I wasn't alone. The more I stood my ground, the clearer the truth became to others. This fight wasn't just about me anymore. It was about honesty. And no matter how hard Linda pushed, I wasn't stopping. Still, I knew this was only the beginning. What came next could change everything. For now, I had momentum. Winning, though, that would take more than one move. The legal battle dragged on longer than I ever imagined, but when it finally ended, it didn't feel the way I thought it would. The paperwork was complete, the debts were settled, the property I hadn't even known was sold had been transferred to its rightful owners. Everything was, technically, resolved. And yet what settled inside me wasn't relief. It was a strange, quiet neutrality, like the echo after a door closes for good. There was no triumph in it, no sense of victory. Watching Linda face the consequences of what she'd done didn't bring satisfaction. It didn't feel like justice, not in the way people imagine it. It just felt final. What I knew with painful clarity was that I couldn't go back. The version of my family I had grown up believing in no longer existed. Years of silence, a swallowing discomfort, of being the reliable daughter who kept everything together, none of it mattered anymore. I had fought for the truth, and the truth had stripped everything bare. I kept my distance after the trial. Linda called a few times, her apologies hesitant and fragile, but apologies couldn't rewind what had already been broken. I wasn't ready to forgive, and even if I ever was, forgetting was no longer an option. The first time I saw her again was at a family gathering. I went because declining felt heavier than attending. She sat in the corner, quiet, smaller than I remembered. The authority she once carried was gone, replaced by something fragile and unsure. "Emily," she said softly when she noticed me, "can we talk?" I hesitated. I didn't know what I expected from that conversation, if anything at all, but I walked over anyway, and we stood facing each other in a silence that said more than words ever could. "I know I made mistakes," she said finally, voice trembling. "I hurt you. I can't undo it. I was just trying to save what little I had left." For a moment, something stirred. Sympathy, maybe, but it didn't stay. "You didn't just hurt me," I said calmly. "You used me. You lied. You sold pieces of our family's history without telling me. You broke my trust completely." Tears filled her eyes, guilt written plainly across her face, but it didn't bring comfort. It didn't fix anything. "I know," she whispered. "I'm sorry." I shook my head and took a step back. Sorry doesn't restore what was taken. We can't go back to what we were. She didn't respond, and I didn't need her to. The silence between us felt honest, and for once, I didn't try to soften it. There was nothing left to fix. I walked away knowing I had to keep moving forward. Staying rooted in the past would only keep reopening wounds that had already scarred. The weeks that followed passed quietly. I returned to my routine, rebuilding my life piece by piece. It wasn't perfect, and I no longer expected it to be. But it was mine, shaped by my own choices instead of everyone else's demands. I threw myself into work, not to prove anything, but because it grounded me. It gave structure to days that had once felt completely unmoored. Control wasn't about dominance anymore. It was about ownership of my own life. I also started reclaiming things I had abandoned. I picked up painting again, something I hadn't touched since I was younger. It didn't matter if it was good. What mattered was the quiet, the way it let me breathe. Holidays came and went without the familiar weight of obligation. There was freedom in that, but also loneliness. I missed the idea of family more than the reality of it. I mourned what I thought we were, even knowing it had never truly existed. Still, I didn't go back. I couldn't. I had made my choices, and I was learning to live inside them. The truth had freed me, but it had also left ruins behind. Both things could exist at once. One evening, I picked up my phone, thinking about calling my mother. My finger hovered, then stopped. I wasn't ready. Maybe one day I would be. Maybe I wouldn't. For now, that uncertainty was okay. I stood by the window, watching the world move outside, feeling the weight finally settle into something manageable. It wasn't the ending I had imagined for myself, but it was honest. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe.